All right, welcome to Common Hood. This your OG Simon P. And today I'm so blessed to have in my presence a real soldier, real activist out there really doing some shit. I got Miss Chéné Jackson. I just want to tell Miss Justine on why the hell I follow her. I got caught on to that Facebook she be on because I saw somebody rambling. I'm like, who the hell this lady is cussing? And then I was like, wait a minute. Let me listen a little bit closer. I started learning some things. So, I've been chasing you down since October because you've been busy as hell dropping knowledge. Trying to say, wake the fuck up pretty much.
Definitely that.
So, I just wanted to share with you why I decided to follow you. And why I took my time that when I see your feed come, on why I press the stop button, find the video, even though I'm technology inept, to say, let me listen to what she's saying today. And you straightened me out a little bit too with some of the things, because I was one of them Negroes that was hearing the noise and was feeling like, hey man, ain't nobody doing nothing. Let me try something different. But you didn't ridicule it, brother. You did exercise your right to vote.
Yeah.
And that's enough. We gonna leave it like that.
Yes.
At least you got us your vote. But
Yes.
you got a problem with y'all 86 million out there that ain't doing it now. It's 89.
89 million.
Damn, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. We're going to get into it. I say I followed you because I like the structure. I ain't see nothing transactional because you didn't hold your mind back. Meaning if somebody stepped on your toe, you didn't worry about political, right? You say, no, let's just nip it in the bud. You went live, I'm finna meet your ass live. Mm-hmm. And I just actually, personally, I just actually love it. I'd be like, where's this at? Where is this at? But it made me also think about when we comparing the two parties. You got one person romped and stomped for 4 years when he wasn't there. And it seemed like nobody like yourself was romping and stomping back. And I think that's why we kind of in that position. I may be wrong. You can correct me right now. But that's how I feel.
It's a little bit of a bunch of things. So both parties suck. That's very clear. Mm-hmm. And people on both sides are aware that both parties suck. I think what people are not understanding is why both parties suck. And so both are rooted in anti-Blackness. And so we have to be very clear. I always tell people I live in Florida, so it's a closed primary state, which means in order to participate in the primary, you have to be registered with one of the big parties, which would be Democrat or Republican. So I'm registered.
Can I put a pin in that? Now, I'm a registered Democrat, but I always just voted Democrat as well. But I always was saying, for some years, I had been wanting to go independent.
Yes.
Can you tell me why I should be with one of the parties versus being independent?
So as the most people don't realize, in Florida, with a closed primary state, if you're not with one of the parties, you can't vote in the primary. You have more power in the primary, because in the primary is when they decide which candidate is going to go to the big general election in order to represent us. And so often the person that will represent you the best is not going to be the most popular, because they're not going to raise the most money. And so getting people to understand, I despise how Democrats actually run campaigns and what they believe in, because for them is you just go talk to what's called a super voter. Those are people that are already voting. So they already feel represented, or they already understand the power of their vote. You need to go talk to people, which we call low propensity voters, which are people who are probably registered who don't vote for whatever reason or another. So they actually just did research, and there's 3 reasons that people don't vote. 1, they're locked out because of voter suppression, all of the laws that they passed and how difficult they're making it. 2, they're people that's sick and tired of being sick and tired, which is kind of what you explained. I've been voting all my life. I don't see the actual benefit. And then 3 is people who've just given up on politics altogether.
Right.
And
well,
so,
you done triggered me. You done triggered something different now.
Yes.
Ever since I've been following you,
yes.
You the first. But what gets me too is you doing this alone. I don't see nobody. You take that camera on by your damn self and you let it be no holds bars. But I'll be like, they should be putting this in school, what she's saying.
But that's on purpose. So it's not in schools, again, on purpose. And so people don't realize that part. I just realized on Sunday, one of the most recent videos that I did, because people, even as I am in a panic, and the people who do this work are in a panic, because we understand what's at stake with the Voting Rights Act, it finally came to me because of like structural racism and the way things are, people actually don't understand. And because people, a lot of the things that they benefit from, that's been normal their whole life, they don't know that that stuff is brand new. And so in school, they don't teach you that the reason that you have access to housing is because of the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
In school, they don't teach you that your elementary school is funded or your high school is funded because of the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
In school, they don't teach you that even when it comes to equal opportunity with your employers or people being discriminatory, all of those things happen after the Voting Rights Act.
I'm going to teach you what you taught me when I saw it. Though I've heard about them, but how you broke it down. The Voting Rights Act of 1965. And then you came back that civil rights was a year before that. But what killed me when you said all these other things that they had, the Medicaid Act in 1975, the Home Loans, the Equal Opportunity Act in 64, all these different acts, Social Security in 1935, that because we were known to be agriculture and domestic workers, that we did not get to participate in none of those programs until these acts got passed, the Civil Rights Act as well as that. And I'm like, how be damned? That means my mom and dad was raised up without no access to this because they were being black.
That's it. And so getting people to see that. So even now when they're redrawing maps, they be like, oh, it's Democrat and Republican. It's not, it's not Democrat and Republican. It is black people.
Right.
And so because they do it in a very polite way, or they're going around in a circle, we don't see and understand. And so in our minds too, because there have been some protection. So I always tell people, I don't necessarily depend on the government to help me, but I also know that they can harm us. And so we're just in the phase that other people are actually seeing the harm that can actually be done. Because before, at least there was some advocacy, at least it seemed like there was some going backwards and forth. But we're also in a moment with the Democratic Party, I won't leave them out, they're anti-black as well. And so the greatest fighters for us and always have been black people. And so they want the black vote, they depend on the black vote, they need the black vote, but they don't want black people to actually have power. And so that's also very clear in the party as well. But we're in a special moment because they've been very cowardly in everything that's been happening in order for you to call them to the carpet and be very clear, like, what is it? And why are you not supporting the people that fight hardest for us? I was frustrated today because I'm watching people go back and forth trying to, what is the word I want to use? They're trying to give Killer Mike grace and give him a free pass. And he helped to create what we have today. So when this last election came, he was one of the main people that had a lot to say about Kamala. And I want to be clear, Kamala Harris was not my first candidate at all. When we were in there were other people.
I listened to Killer Mike the whole time.
Yes.
That was his talking and his talking when I followed him kind of confirmed how I feel, especially when he talked about the amount of people went to jail, how quiet she was.
But that's also actually not true.
Yes,
so even when he stated that, and I think that's the frustration, if we want to talk about it, let's tell the truth. When Kamala actually became the state attorney, first of all, let's back up because they tried to say that she got the job because she slept her way to the top. Kamala actually became the state attorney and an attorney general, and to pass the bar in the state, they have the hardest bar exam.
The hardest bar in California, yes.
Second of all, I want to talk about bar exams. Things like bar exams and nursing exams, none of those things ever were a thing until black people started to get nursing and law degrees. So even the whole requirement to take an exam is literally racist on his face.
Right.
But even proceeding forward, which we know there's a thing called a black tax for real. You got to work twice as hard to get half as far. So the fact that she was able to circumvent all those things to get where she is, they wanted to question her blackness. Kamala is a part of the Divine Nine, was sorority. That's black, and I'm black and black.
She went to the HBCU
at Howard University.
Yeah.
So wanted people to understand that, first of all, when you're dictating that people are acting black because you're looking at the negative aspects of our culture, is also very anti-black.
Well, one of the things too, nothing against her, I just feel like the Democratic Party and Joe waited forever to make the decision.
So they did. And that had nothing to do with her.
And I know it didn't have nothing to do, but
one of the reasons that they waited,
it didn't give her a chance to really defend.
But she
not defend herself to go toe to toe with Mr.
So
Trump.
she didn't need to go toe to toe because each time they did a debate, she slaughtered him in the debate.
He only gave him one debate, and he said he wasn't going to do the other two because he was
because
and I think
even in that debate is because she slaughtered him. So let's be very clear.
She was good.
My frustration, even in this moment, as they're trying to give, and the same thing happened in Georgia, Killer Mike supported Brian Kemp over Stacey Abrams. That does not make sense. He can never sell it to me. I don't care what anybody says. And we have to be real about that. For some reason, we keep thinking money means that that's going to give us a protection from not being black.
Right.
You are black first, no matter how much money you make. And they will allow you to have a platform of all those things until they decide they want to cut you off by the knees. So we want to be clear with that. Once we got to the last candidates in the race,
right?
Although Kamala wasn't my first candidate, and mind you, not for the things they said, because all the things they said were not accurate. So first of all, when she became the attorney general, arrests of black people actually went down. She actually created a program that when you got minor offenses and you went through her department, she did a diversion program, and then her department actually filed for your expungement. So we're not talking about those things. When she was actually in charge of the state attorney's office and they found out that there was inaccurate things in the lab, she went through and threw out every conviction, and then she set up a conviction integrity unit. So these are all the things that she did as an actual leader.
While she was in seats, when they passed the Asian hate crime and the marijuana laws changed, I thought they would have been a little more proactive, and I thought a lot of brothers that would have came home that went to jail about that marijuana law.
So the issue with that is as well, and that's the thing that we're not realizing now. I want to clarify even a few things when those things pass. So first of all, we'll go back to the First Step Act. That was not Trump's law. That was Obama's law that a Republican Congress refused to pass. Because even when you write a particular law, there's supposed to be checks and balances through the three governments. Trump needed a win because the same way he's destroying the country now, he did it the first time, just not as badly as that. And so they brought him this legislation and said by signing this, it would make him very popular as it related to us. The other part of that is even when we're talking about marijuana convictions, it's only for federal convictions. Most black people don't have federal marijuana convictions because you got to be big time. We don't have planes, trains, or boats to get anything here. So getting us to understand that even when it pertains to a lot of legislation, it does not benefit on the state level.
That 3-strike rule, I know brothers that got jammed up with a couple pounds or 5 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever the case, which is not a lot of weed.
Nope.
And to see that now that it's okay to sell it.
Yep.
Because, at a relaxation moment, I puff on a bud. Why is it?
It's okay to sell it.
Because they got it.
It's exactly.
It's
okay to sell it so that the people in charge now know how to monetize and benefit from it.
Yes.
So even in Florida law, where you can now grow marijuana, you have one of the things that has to be is you have to be a family-owned farm for more than 30 years. Mm-hmm. Well, in the 80s, they started to push, but we used to be the original farmers. Yeah. So what happened is, in the 80s, which is a part of this strategy, they pushed us out, they criminalized us and put us in prison through the crack epidemic, and the prison industrial complex, and the people started seeing doing the farm work were actual immigrants that were coming in and supporting their families. And so the people that were in charge was able to benefit the money like they did when they enslaved people and have somebody else to do the work. And we allowed those things to happen because we said that we were too good for farm work, not realizing when you have a direct connection to the actual food source, that is power. And so we allowed them to make laws in order to give that power away.
I like how you say that we made a mistake. And I'm thinking about, though we are the smallest proportionate number, when you just mentioned some of the benefits, and some of the benefits you mentioned was how this current redistricting, rezoning mapping may affect benefits like housing, food stamps, Medicaid, the school districting, all of those things. And it's like we bought the Kool-Aid, drank the Kool-Aid, and got stuck and got very comfortable. So though I may not be liked for saying this, I do feel like at least when Mr. Trump woke a lot of people up right now.
But I actually don't think he did, and that's what's actually concerning
me. Damn sure woke you up.
So, but I've been on this journey. So I've been on this journey since 2016. So I've been consistent. Right. I don't think that he's woken a lot of people up, and that's my fear. What they are doing is not surprising. So the plan for Project 2025 started from what's called the Powell Memo.
The Powell Memo?
Powell, Powell.
Oh, Powell, okay.
He was an economist that wrote this memo back in 1971 about how to basically take over the country and the government through conservatism. A few years later, he was appointed to be a Supreme Court justice. So, which was one of the parts of these pillars in order to do this. So, if you read a book, it's called Democracy in Chains. It actually lays it down.
You say Democracy in Chains? Wow.
And so the Heritage Foundation, who is the authors of Project 2025, was formed in 1973, just a few years after the Powell
2 years
Memo.
after that.
And so even with that, the Heritage Foundation has over 800 employees. So this is not a few people that just got in a room and decided what we're going to do.
Oh, this been a strategic plan.
And then what has happened is they're the ones through the Powell Memo that said to put a bunch of money in elections so regular people can't run. It was determined ahead of time to cut back a lot of the regulations and a lot of the recourse that you have in order to force when laws and things like that are broken. It was them that wanted to be able to streamline power in order to give people that are corporations more power and more benefits than the actual American people. So, and then what happened is Ronald Reagan came in and enacted that. He wasn't just like Trump, who was a TV actor that came in and decided to be president. And he told people that the country would thrive through Reaganomics, which was trickle-down economics. What people fail to realize is the country and the economy was already thriving. And so through EEOC, and before those things,
kind of the same act when he took it from Obama, it was thriving. And
exactly.
Yes.
And so people
same playbook.
Miss that particular part because racism is very expensive and very powerful. And so what happened is he started to have this quote unquote war on drugs. And so the war on drugs wasn't as bad as people thought. The Iran-Contra scandal is a real thing where they drop drugs into our community.
Oh, yeah.
I want people to always go look at the story. Yeah, exactly. Rick Ross.
Rick Ross said it.
So even with Rick Ross, he stopped selling drugs. The real Rick Ross, not the singer.
Not the rapper, yeah.
He went to prison, got out, and stopped selling drugs and went in and started to rehab and build his community. And what happened is one of the cartel lords that they got, the U.S. government entered into an agreement with them to convince Rick Ross to do this one last time. It was not the last drug deal that he did that got him in prison. He did not want to do. And so literally they stated to him that it would be able to utilize it in order to be able to build his community. So how is it that you go over and make a deal with a cartel person to bring somebody in who's no longer selling drugs, literally because he's calling the government out on how they should be benefiting us and what they should be doing and actually making it known that they're the ones that drop drugs into our community.
Right.
And so we
all to support that Contra war.
Yeah. So it's like all of these
North.
things.
I remember that.
So all of these are real things, but we're busy living life. So we, number one, find it difficult to believe. And then number two, we kind of just disregard it and think that it's not a big deal. And it's a huge deal. And so even going back to Kamala, the thing that I want to state with that is everybody keeps saying she didn't have a benefit. It was clear. This was an open book test that a lot of people failed. And I want to be clear because there's a lot of black men that are very, very adamant. They want the world to know, well, I don't just vote for anybody because of their skin color. Well, number one, the others do it all the time. So we're going to start there. And the way that we know that is
Can I add something before you get to it?
What?
When I know Hillary didn't win, I say they're not going to allow
a black woman to win first.
That black woman to win.
The only thing more prevalent in America than racism is sexism.
So going back before, when the rights came, the black man got a chance to vote first. Well, right after that, I believe the women's rights group that was led by whites.
They weren't led by whites. So let's be clear about that.
They came out, straighten me out.
I want to straighten you out.
Yep.
That's how they've rewritten history and revised it.
Okay.
The catalyst for women getting their rights to vote, which was the 19th Amendment, were black women. The white women didn't want the black women on the front lines, but it was the black women who did all of the work.
Yeah, they were the catalyst for getting the work done.
We did all of the work. So they were just the face, but that we got our rights because of us. Because even when the 19th Amendment was passed in the 20s, black women still couldn't vote to the 60s, and that was literally until the VRA. So they still had done poll taxes and all these other things. And so I want people to know and understand that part. I also want to be very clear. The only person that I find that I trust less than white men is white women. So if you go back and look at history, even when we enslaved people, it was the slaves came with the wife as a dowry. So even too, there are many books that actually talked about how the wife was much harsher than even the slave owning husbands. And the deal is they paint the picture of white women being very dainty and very this when literally they are a whole lot more detrimental than white men. And they get offended when I say that, but we can literally show that to you throughout time.
I gotta share with you. I can't call it right now, but it'll come to me. They got a documentary on Prime saying that for racism to be combative, liberal white women have a great influence to slow it down.
They do. And what they would rather do is to tone police all of us that are angry and have an issue instead of being accountable to the people in their communities. There's many of them that are married to conservative white men. And they'll say, well, I'm just going to turn my head because that's my husband. But your husband is creating harm. And you want to absolve yourself of any responsibility by saying, I'm not one of those white women. I'm not one of those white people, but actually you are. If you're not fighting for structural change, the same way we tell black people that if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem, it's the same thing with them.
Same thing.
You don't get to center yourself and absolve yourself from any responsibility about what's happening.
You mentioned a focus group that you was a part of on your video on Black Voters Matter. And you mentioned that the last election, let me hear if I'm in that right, that it was actually people bringing guns or having it.
So I didn't mention the focus group. We have it's a work group called Defending Democracy. So we do election protection and election safeguarding. And just this happened actually in Florida, right in Nassau County. A young Trump supporter that was white, was 19 years old. He took a machete to the precinct and he threatened the people at the precinct. And they let him go. Right. The state attorney decided not to prosecute.
You did hear about some of these things, but they tried to say, nah, this didn't happen.
No, it actually
It was
happened.
fake news and all
so
this. You did
none
hear
of it's fake news. It absolutely happened. And so this is the person behind the scenes. And my partner tell you, we actually was running from county to county sometimes in the mix of all the stuff that was actually going on. There's a lot that people actually don't see. Where they're shutting down polls, there were bomb threats where polls had to be closed to send people to other places.
That.
So all of these things are like real things and they're only gonna get worse. And so that coupled with the governments in each of the cities and in states now saying you can't give people water. Like in Georgia, where Brian Kemp is one of the reasons I'm upset with Killer Mike. He shut down all of the voting locations in black communities on purpose. And they literally had the voting machines. They found them in a warehouse. But they had them covered to make it difficult for black people to vote. That means they had to never travel. If they went past that and still decided to vote, they had to wait outside in lines for hours. It was literally on purpose.
Well, I like how you've been very instrumental with being not confrontational, but regularly bringing light to this rewriting the maps. Because you had mentioned, when you mentioned the different southern states, I'm like, she ain't naming them but the 13 colony states. And is what you had named.
And so even since I did that video, like now they're releasing new maps in Alabama because they want to write the Democratic Representative Dave Clyburn out of his seat. Even with Louisiana versus Calais is so major because there was only 2 black voting districts in the entire state. Now, mind you, if there's a state that's worse than Florida, it would be Louisiana, especially as it relates to their prisons. So literally, they have one of their prisons named Angola. You know, Angola is actually a country over in Africa.
One of their prisons is named Angola?
Yes, they call it Angola in Louisiana. And the population in that one prison is literally as high as the prison populations combined across the world in that one prison in the United States. And so getting people to, even to Louisiana is where Hurricane Katrina came, and people are just now realizing that when the levees broke, somebody broke the levees. That was real. That was not infrastructure.
I can't recall it, but the El Salvador prison connection, when they were sending the immigrants there, but I did hear him say, send them all. And they said that prison there, you sometimes don't come out alive.
Often you don't. It literally is a torture prison.
And that was mentioned that we should empty ours and send them away, which,
And I want to be clear about that. That's even bigger. So Adolf Hitler, who is the person responsible for the Holocaust in Germany, first of all, he got his playbook from America on how white people treat black people in America. So the fact that we keep saying that, it's the Gestapo, is this, no, we can say it's slave patrols. And what's so bad about America is that Nazi Germany wondered if America had taken it too far. So to know that Adolf Hitler slaughtered these millions of people in a short time frame, for them to question what America was doing should really be an eye-opener for everybody. But the same things that he did was, the Auschwitz was not in Germany. So it was in Switzerland. So getting people to understand that he sent people to different countries, the exact same thing. Even with Trump now building this quote-unquote ballroom, he's not building a ballroom, he's building a bunker. The people like Lockheed Martin don't build ballrooms. They build bunkers and military complexes. Right now, there is a bill going through our U.S. Congress House for $1 billion for this military complex. Adolf Hitler did the same thing. And it's, the country that he was going to go to is the same where El Salvador's prison is to be able to escape to. So that was the reason too that they gave that country this bailout. So all of these things are happening right in front of us. History has shown that it's happened, and people are still like,
It's repeating, and they're taking our history out of the schools.
And which is on purpose.
And on your rewriting maps, I'm just going to explain each one as I ask.
So before we did with the maps, I want to explain why that's a big deal. So first of all, there was a decision called the Dred Scott decision. And with the Dred Scott decision, they basically ruled that Black people were 3/5 of a person. So that means... I
remember that.
Yes. So with that, other things came like Plessy versus Burt Ferguson and those things. But even with those things, but Plessy versus Ferguson, now they said Black people were separate but equal. Well, number one, how can you be separate but equal if I'm paying the same amount of taxes and things into a system, but I don't get any benefit out of the system? Which is the same thing happening to immigrants now. Immigrants that work pay into our system, but they don't get any benefit from the system. None. So I get so frustrated when I hear people say, well, they're giving all the stuff to the immigrants. That's an actual lie. It's just a bold-faced lie. And so even when people come up here, what's called an H2 visa.
They put out the information about all the food stamps. They had the people in Chicago complaining that. So there's
certain communities that understand that for them locally, they create programs for people to be able to get those. I've seen the ones where they say people getting $10,000 a month in food stamps. And what's frustrating to me is,
I know that was
it sounds like a lot, but people still believe the lie.
10,000 a month.
But people still believe it. They still
never know nobody get food
stamps.
They
still perpetuate it. So even where some things seem as basic, it's actually not true. America does not want to feed the citizens here. So why would they ever willingly feed immigrants here?
Great point.
It just does not make sense. But that's where we are. So moving forward with that, if we're outnumbered just by raw numbers, so if you're only kind of 3/5 of a person, even if you show up to vote, show up to advocate, you're already outnumbered. And now that makes it significantly outnumbered. So you don't have rights. So with redistricting, what it is that you draw the districts to make it where it evens out. So in a particular district, just because there's more white people, it doesn't minimize Black voting power. What they're doing is putting a whole lot more white people into the districts. So therefore, that even if Black people show up in droves, it will minimize the power that they have because they understand with Black voting power, there's things that we can demand that they can't back up for.
Well, this brings me to what I said earlier. I said independence. But tell me what you're feeling about having a political action committee, because it seems like I don't know if we have one, but it seemed like we need to be better informed through our action committee to go sit in the middle and say to negotiate that if our vote is powerful.
So we have them, and we have.
If our vote is powerful, I'm like, why don't we use that?
Because it doesn't have any power. In Florida, so that's the issue. In Florida, it doesn't have power.
But on the power, but when whoever is elected to get the vote, because whoever went in the seat, they want the power, right? So why don't we sit there and get some kind of structural change for our vote? I know it's not gonna never be a whole lot at one time.
So let me tell you how you get structural change for your vote, because I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
But there's an actual responsibility that we have to play in that. And I will go back to 2018 when Andrew Gillum ran for governor. So Andrew Gillum, a young, very, very intelligent Black man, he won the nomination without the support of the Democratic Party. He won it because regular people showed up and said they wanted something different. He didn't even have the infrastructure for his campaign, and he won. So when it came to the actual general election, so if I'm going to be very clear.
They smeared him.
Hold on. But that was after the fact, so we're not even there yet. In the general election, he only lost on paper by 33,000 votes, which is so minute in a state where almost 14 million people are registered to vote. And even with them cheating, that was what we call one of the widest elections in Florida. And you know why? Because the people that would have gotten him over the top was Black people. They did not show up. So even when we keep talking about the political power that we want, even when presented with the opportunity to get that power, we are the victim. It is what it is. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. That does not make sense. They're doing what they want to do because you're not there. So who's holding them accountable?
So we're not knowing our power, but currently they're trying to take the power.
We don't know our power, but they know our power.
They know the power.
And so it's working in their favor because we don't know it. And then at the same time, they're going to strip it. So by the time we figure it out, it's going to be so far gone. It's that much
You got me over here thinking, when I heard you say, I'm paraphrasing, so I know you'll catch me. You say when Black people do the right thing, it benefits
everybody.
Everybody. Explain that just a little bit.
So what happens is I use DI as the prime example because they weaponize that. So for them, people automatically hear DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that means that you're hiring people who are not qualified. That's not what DEI is at all.
It is, no.
What DEI is that the people who are qualified, that's it. The people who are qualified don't get passed over.
Right.
But even with DEI, the greatest benefactor of DEI are white women.
Right.
Absolutely. So the least benefactor, number 7.
They got hit with this law, though. They got hit.
And that's the issue.
I know we got hit too.
But again,
they got hit
it's
as
that
well.
deal. Whenever you do things for black people, it benefits everybody. Mm-hmm. So the least benefactor of DEI is black women.
Example. Yeah.
And right before that is black men. Even when it comes to equal opportunities in housing, they used to not give credit in things to women. So you couldn't have a credit card to any of those things. That literally just happened in the 70s when women could have a credit card of things on their own. And what happened is that stemmed from the EEOC laws that were passed after the Voting Rights Act for black people. So whenever you address, because we're the house that's on fire. And I want people to also understand that despite everything they're doing to suppress us, to harm us, everything in the country is still ours. So whether you say, well, hey, you realize that black people are indigenous to the country, we was here first. Whether you move past that and say, well, no, my family came here via the slave trade, every invention is ours. Tilling the land is ours. Black women birthed the labor force, the children. But the culture is ours. All the music, all the art, everything is ours.
A lot.
So despite all of the harm.
Did you hear about the, I don't know if the article, I can't verify, but I saw it on Yahoo. When it said the Democratic Party was thinking about reparations.
So it's not the
for immigrants.
So that's not true as well. It's so frustrating.
Okay.
So a few things. What happened is there's an International Court of Justice.
Okay.
In the International Court of Justice, you got countries from all across the world that actually look and review human rights violations. All the countries got together and looked at reparations. Only 2 countries voted against it, Israel and America. And that's reparations for black people.
Yeah.
So I want to be very clear. The Democratic Party is not that in a lot of cases, they do willful harm. They're just cowards. They just lay down. And that's the issue. So
that's how I feel as well.
So that's it. They just, many of them lay down.
Yeah.
But a part of that is because you want to always vote for the good white person instead of knowing that. And even now, who do you see mounting a defense of the Democratic Party? Jasmine Crockett and what happened in Texas. Latino and white people voted for the less qualified school teacher.
Right.
And now they're mad at black people and gaslighting them.
And they say
and if you don't show up and he don't win, it's going to be your fault. It's not their fault. It's your fault.
Right.
Even in Indiana, the person Allie that ran, she was very progressive. Her issue is she did rural engagement, but she didn't go in black communities. Black people are a very powerful bloc, even if they don't realize it. If Gillum would have gotten elected, all the things we're seeing now in Florida would not have happened. These things literally have happened since 2018. And it's literally that one election has fully changed the course of Florida. And that's what people don't realize.
Are the Republicans still trying to tout Byron Donald
to
become? Now,
that's the way of saying we're not racist, but we are.
I'm going to let you explain the U.S. Senator. And I heard you mention Miss Angie Nixon, who had the bullhorn talking about this map. And I was like, well, who that sister?
And that's not the first time she's done that.
Yeah.
So in 2022,
but it was my first time seeing it. And I might have saw it through you. It made me look at the news to hear it. But, U.S. Senate, if she was, how would that benefit? Explain how that would benefit if Miss Angie Nixon gets the support she needs. And what's the roles and duties of a U.S. Senator? So
first, I will explain who she is now before I get in there. Right now, she's a member of the House of Representatives out of HD. It's now 14 because they changed the maps, out of Jacksonville. As a state legislature, she goes to the state capitol in session. State legislators work and pass law and legislation. They work on budgets, those things in order to govern in the state. By her running for U.S. Senate, she would actually go represent Florida and advocate for Floridians in Washington, D.C. And so getting people to understand those are 2 things. So that means it's a statewide race. So that means she represents everybody in all 67 counties in the state of Florida.
Okay.
There you advocate. So literally how we're fighting and don't want people to pass the ICE bills and pass defunding education and dismantling the Department of Education and housing laws. All those things are done in Washington. So right now what you see is some Democrats, even with the war, she would be one of the people that would impact not just her actual vote, but holding the people that she's elected to serve beside accountable for doing the right thing for the people. So it's just like with you, with your homeboys in the group, you got a level of responsibility, but your homeboys like, bro, we can't do such and such. We can't do this. So that's literally what a governing official would actually do. What's also frustrating is elected officials, number one, are regular people. They are not somebody like, oh, the honorable this. They're regular persons. I call everybody by their first name. Second of all, they're actually people that are supposed to work for us. Our tax dollars pay their salaries. So the same insurance that they say we're not entitled to for quality insurance, we paying for them to have quality insurance. Senators and House of Representatives have the best.
Yes.
And if they stay in office, I believe it's more past 6 years, then they get tenure, which means they get a pension for the rest of their lives that we're paying for. So for us to sit and not understand that, oh, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. Why would you allow them to do what they want to do anyway when they pay their money? Your money is paying for their quality of life. So I want people like to understand that part. Like, stop saying that. I don't let people play with me and my money. So with her, the advocacy for us, number one, just on its face, she would be the first Black woman U.S. Senator out of Florida. We're in 2026. We keep saying racism is not a thing. How is that? Even right now, on both sides of the aisle, they're saying she can't win because she's a Black woman in the South. Florida has the largest Black population. It's the third largest Black population in the entire country.
Right.
We can elect whoever we want to if Black people just stand up. There's enough numbers for her to win if nobody voted but Black people. That's how powerful we are, and we don't know it. And that's what it's mind-boggling to me. This is a person.
But that makes sense with the remapping.
Yeah.
When you say, well,
but even in her seat, it won't impact her seat because she's a statewide candidate. It impacts our power statewide, but for her, the maps don't impact her seat, and she's still fighting for them. And she's still fighting for them because she understands the power that is being stripped away in their communities. In 2022, DeSantis rolled out maps in North Florida that got rid of 2 majority Black voting districts. One of them is Madison County, Florida, where Madison City is.
But outside of Tallahassee, right?
But yes, they don't have a healthcare center, and they're about to lose their last grocery store. So because they have, and mind you, they have the highest percentage of Black people in that county who have nothing. And it's literally because the representation does not look like them because of how the maps are actually drawn. So getting people that they don't have housing, like basic things that a lot of us take for granted in other cities and towns, they don't have. And it's the city with the highest percentage of Black people in it.
So this remapping is taking the power away on things that all people use, which is...
So not just voting, like your healthcare, your schools, your roads, your housing, every aspect of your life is at stake right now.
That's why.
And that's what people, they say, I'm just surviving, I'm barely making it. This about to be worse. You might be struggling to pay rent. You at a point that you might not have a place to go pay rent to. That's how bad this is. And that's why people who do this work, if you notice, we're not holding back that we're in a panic. We're not pretending that we are not, because we need to now, instead of trying to babysit people's feelings, we have to sound the alarm. We are in trouble. They're sending $1 trillion every few weeks for a war that we are losing.
Yeah, what did you mean when you said with the rezoning amount? You mentioned the district boundaries, the voting districts, but the geography, income thresholds, and the neighborhood characteristics.
Everything. So what that means,
like, what the hell did that have to do with the vote?
I'm from Fifth Avenue.
Right.
I grew up on Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue looks nothing like when I grew up on Fifth Avenue. So they got an axe throwing bar. People go spend $40 to throw axes. The people who were raised on Fifth Avenue can't afford that. The home that I was raised in
what was that apartment complex they got rid of?
Seminary Lane.
Seminary Lane. Mm-hmm. And then my auntie used to stay.
And that was the last bit of Black-owned land.
Yeah.
So we fought that during COVID in this same city commission. That's why I don't care about Democrat or Republican, because they're Democrats. Sold that to land developers. And with those land developers, they're giving us
Seminary Lane?
all of that. They're supposed to give us $8 million to do something in the Black community. It's been 6 years later. You know what the Black community got out of that? They got 5 units for Black people to live in. They got rid of all of that, and all we got out of it was 5, and it was our money.
Yeah, they say for all those high-rise buildings there that they applied for something for the city, that they only have to have 10 or 20%. And most people probably don't even know that they have a right to live in there, even though they only taking 5 or 10 or 15.
The way they don't have a right to live in there is because then the criteria to be approved, they can't get approved. So first of all, we have the highest gap in every quality of life indicator. So that's wages, that's education, that's access to transportation, that's healthcare, that's everything. So that means most people are struggling. So any one thing in their life will stop them from being able to pay their bills. So you got to make 3 times the rent. How you gonna make 3 times the rent in any of these places when literally the median income is only $15 an hour?
Yeah, in Gainesville.
So on top of that, you got to have typically credit scores in like almost the 700s. If you already are poor, you're not going to have that.
Right.
So on paper, you're entitled to live there, but you won't ever meet the criteria.
You'll never meet it. I don't see nobody coming out of out of those places that looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your recommendation? When I mentioned the political action committee, I was thinking about grassroots.
So with that, so this is the deal. In order to, we all are agreed that's what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get there, we got to show that the power already exists. So again, by even electing Angie Nixon, because she is what's called an economic populist, that she believes in a quality of life for everybody, that would mean, so there's Working Families Party, which might be a prime example. The fear of anybody coming to the state of Florida is that they don't understand what the people in the state of Florida actually want. And so they don't understand that a political action committee or something like that would thrive. So right now, I would give a prime example. As I said, vote for Angie. They brought a man in from Arizona who does not have any legislative experience to run against her. His campaign got $8 million in it. He don't know anybody here. He don't have a platform. They say he's a horrible speaker, but yet these people have dumped $8 million in his campaign. He's done nothing. He won't even go to some of the communities unless they raise X amount of dollars for him. Meanwhile, you got the woman with the track record who's been doing this for 15 years. And mind you, she's been on the board and been in leadership positions in places like SEIU, which is the largest union in the nation. She has been an official governing us for 8 years. She is a person that has been in communities and running around. She's been the person that has voted on every side, the right side of every piece of legislation, especially for us. That means this is what the Democratic Party say they're about. There she is right there. Why would you bring somebody that's from the outside?
It's kind of like they did Jasmine.
But even outside of that, what we need to realize is
it's the same
if
thing.
right now in the two-party system, and especially in a state like this, the only way you're going to attain power is by you align with one of those, get your people in there, and then you push them to do the right thing. What we do is, I voted, let me go on over here. No, if they don't do the right thing, they got to go.
Absolutely. I agree. But there's no accountability, there's no measurement of structural change. That's what I feel.
But that's what we got to do.
We just been giving it away. So,
Yep.
I guess the how-to, I may be guilty of it too, because I was like, man, that shit gonna stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I got to worry about is my own black ass.
And that's the
how
point.
I kind of feel.
When you got that mindset, it's gonna stay the same.
It's no change.
Change does not come in times of comfort. So if you're comfortable, Malcolm X says that a lot of times our oppression is not behind bars. It's when you become comfortable in your injustice.
But before we leave, give us some measuring steps. That how can we hit Angie Nixon or whomever that have an interest? That how can we do better with grassroots? Because me over here, I'm thinking, I don't be knowing all the laws. I don't know when
you ain't got to know none of that. So grassroots is about people.
Yes.
So I want people to know I have a person now. He was laughing because now she's the operations director. The way she ended up being an operations director, hey, I need you to do scheduling because that's her skill set. She got in there. She learned. She said, you'll throw people in head first. That's the only way you're gonna learn. You will never have the training. It doesn't matter how anybody trains you in this work. Your best training is on the job or on the mission. The way I learned this, I didn't have any political know-how. When I took the sheriff on about my son, I know she tried my son and she tried to bully us. So what I looked at power, because power, there is a saying that people always say about Frederick Douglass, that power concedes nothing. It has been tweaked by quite a few organizers. Power concedes nothing without an organized demand and a consequence. So that's what people need to do. So Killer Mike is right in that we should organize our demands. But the issue is we don't have to bully up to anybody about our demands. Our demands are our demands, and they stand on their own. The second part of this is that when you got demands and somebody screw you over, what's the consequence? He butted up to Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp screwed us over, and there's no consequence. So power would concede nothing. So for people, I always tell him, y'all are overthinking this. Activism literally is the first part of it is action. So your actions are, like they'll tell you now, go write you down 25 people. Oh, I don't talk to 25 people. Yes, you do. Y'all engage with 25 people every day on social media. If you get less than 25 likes, y'all be in y'all feelings. I watch y'all. And you watching my stuff and you don't engage. So let's be clear. You interact with at least 25 people every day. Them your people. Whenever every bit of information you find out, they need to send it to you, need to send it to them. When somebody creates an event and say, be there, go there and take some people with you. The number of people, ooh, child, I was tired, so I decided not to go to that. Your life at stake. You that tired?
You know, Ms. Jackson, if I wasn't listening to you, I would have known about the Gainesville Housing Authority voucher rights, how you say that get violated. And this is recently.
Yeah, that's now. I got somebody, a few people I got to call back now.
Right.
And it's large scale.
You missing the waste fraud abuse that was in the housing federal violation. And now you're on this this map rezoning. And this is in the past week because we missed each other last week. And it's like, okay, maybe I need to just follow her for the right information.
Yeah, they're not gonna give it to you because they don't want you to do anything about it.
That's why I'm bringing it up. You say they are not going to give it to you. Mm-mm. So when most go to the polls, I know I hate it. They write that stuff so technical that is there a platform or something there to break these damn laws down, rich dummy terms?
So they do, but
so when you go to the polls and you got your candidates, like there's not enough good, and maybe that's what I'm saying. What we can do, so grassroots, to say, hey, how can we help? But making sure that if I got my 25 click over here, you give me the information. I'm gonna make sure they ask. That's what you do. They ask to know the laws, and they ask to know about the candidates, so they can pick whoever they want. But just they gotta vote.
They exist, but what happens is people scroll past it. The only reason people listen to me because I be cussing their ass out. So for them, because it's entertaining.
Well, it works.
Yeah, but that's the point.
Entertainment to me.
It's entertaining because they like to be entertained. Like I'm really animated and stuff. So that's the only reason that they're willing to get this. And plus, they don't know who I'm a drag. So because they're trying to be entertained, they're tuning in for the entertainment. But that's the problem.
I will say this right here. When I listen, I never thought about the entertainment. I always thought your words were intentional. Mm-hmm. That's what I saw.
For me, it is, but for people, what gets their attention is because it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And then you know how you
animated now. Yeah. You get animated. You get crunk, as the kids say.
So, but that's what it is. And we got to get. But people say, well, I didn't know. But the algorithm goes by your interests.
Right.
So if you start to go search for voting, the things will pop up automatically. Mm-hmm. If you start, there's our influencers like Garrison Hayes, Lene Vinay, Elizabeth Booker Houston, Justin Scott, Deontay Kyle. Like there's so many actual influencers that will give you the actual information. But people don't like to tune into them. Girl, that's boring. And not voting stuff. And you like, are you serious right now? What you talking about Cardi B and Stephon Diggs?
I'm tuned in. I'm glad you mentioned others that are doing what you're doing. But I was like, this girl is courageous as fuck.
Yeah, they know.
Because it's like you got a willingness to go at this thing alone. I don't see everybody with you rah behind it. It's like she doing it alone.
So we learned a recent term. We went to a training in New York, and one of the things that the woman said there that we need to do is actually how I was living without even seeing it. All you do is you find your coalition of the willing. So you can't focus on who's not there, waiting for people to come along. You'll never get there. You get started, and any of the willing, they're gonna come along with you. And so you form a coalition of the willing.
Well, you know, I'm gonna use an analogy. Jesus fed the 5,000, and you know why? Mm-hmm. They want some bread and food.
That's it.
When Jesus told his 12 disciples, he asked more than the 12. Yep. Some said, "Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing."
And one of them betrayed him. You still keep moving.
Exactly, he kept it moving. But I say that to say that of those 12, those leaders know they had to follow because Jesus was going to give meaning. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to end it with that as saying, if we want to, Miss Angie Nixon, she does have a website, which is angienixon.com, that you can go over there and vote since money is needed to help run a campaign.
So not even just, you can go over there and donate.
Minimum $20, they're going to charge you extra $3, but you can go higher than that. I saw it myself.
Yeah, so you can go higher than that, and $20 is actually not the minimum. If you want to donate $1 a month, we will want you to donate more than that. But we understand like times are difficult and they're about to get even more difficult. One of the things, the reason for the money is to be able to get the word out to other people. So the way you can help that in lieu of money is literally by showing up and volunteering, by making phone calls, by knocking on doors, by going to post up at the Little League game and say, hey, I need to give you this information. There is so much that people can actually do. Even when, like, she has a bunch of town halls. Tomorrow she has a Black Men for Angie town hall that's virtual. Get your homeboys, like, tune in. We got to stop complaining, stop being the victim and say, you know what? This lady really is out here fighting for us. She wants us at the table with her. What are we going to do? That's how we have to start looking and navigate it, because that's what they do.
Well, that's what the grassroots is, getting the information and sharing. So I'm glad you giving a platform on that Facebook that I wasn't really on Facebook till I kept seeing the lady. Like I told you, I was a way in Africa friend of mine was like, you seen this lady here in Gainesville? She's like, she don't want to be talking something. And I was like, wow. I say, yeah, she ain't doing all the booty shaking and everything else that we do. She talking real facts. And it is scary. It is about to get harder because you're saying that inflation looking like it's coming not controllable at all. And it's like, who the hell have the answer?
Well, the deal is, too, the president, them are getting rich about what's happening. They manipulating the markets. Yes. That's what they keep talking about. Oh, the gross domestic product, which is GDP. They keep talking about the stock market because they're literally cleaning up by paying for war. Yeah, they're getting paid while everybody else is struggling. They
always say if you have a war for money and the rich people have assets and their assets increasing, the prices of values getting higher. So when they building in Gainesville, you see boxes getting built that housing 300 or 400 people at one time. Mm-hmm. You don't see the communities getting. Mm-mm. So they are getting richer, and we ain't on that playground.
I ain't even outside of getting richer. The they call it the Department of War now. The Department of Defense in September spent almost $94 billion on snow crab legs, on lobster tail, on shrimp, on snacks, all the same things.
The Department of Defense
spent almost $94 billion.
How we miss the seafood party then?
Exactly. But not even all the trash that they talk about.
I like seafood. They could at least buy us that.
All the trash they talk about people that get a seafood tray and different things like that. And even since then, they've spent astronomical like millions of dollars per month. But they did that amount of money they spent in 1 month actually would fund these SNAP program for an entire year for 90-something million.
I got some things I want to read so we can close and let you get out of here because you got more important things to do than sitting here and be talking with me. It said when Biden left the office, it was $3.13 a gallon of gas, and today it's $4.59. Facts.
True.
They said when Biden left the office, it was 17.5 per kilowatt for electricity. Now it's 22.7 cents per kilowatt.
It's actually about to go up. That's correct.
They said when Biden left the office, it was $7 a barrel for oil, and today it's $124 barrel of oil.
That's right.
They said when Biden left,
it's actually closer to $200 a barrel.
Well, yeah. When Biden left the office, it was $2.50 for heating oil. Now it's $4.99. Yep. Man, everything. When Biden left the office for coal, it was $116.35 a ton. Now it's $158.40.
That one I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it.
When Biden left the office, beef, we're talking about beef, $5.50 a pound. Now it's $8.49 a pound. And I got one more to leave you out. And this is for everybody that say they voted for Mr. DJT. And I'm just asking those people, including my mistake, my warning. And I couldn't answer them. Somebody gave me this some post. It says, did you get any of the following? And you can disagree. You didn't get Affordable Health Care Act.
Correct.
We're still waiting on that Affordable Health Care
plan. No, they dismantled it. They're not only doing that, it's about to make it worse.
They dismantled it.
They need to fund the bill.
They're not funding it. Yeah. Yep. You didn't get the national debt eliminated. Nope. Actually, it increased.
So actually, we're what's called insolvent. We're
insolvent, yes. Yep. I read that a couple weeks ago.
We are broke.
Remind me of some of the things that he touched. Got insolvent.
Mm-hmm. Everything he touched.
Everything he touched. But he golden, though. The golden era wasn't for us. You didn't get the swamp drained.
Nope. He filled that mug up.
He filled it up. Did the wall ever get built in Mexico?
Nope.
He said he promised his base that he was going to lock Hillary Clinton ass up. Did that happen?
And the only person we need to be locked up is him and his whole cabinet. They the actual crooks.
And it says he said he promised that he would get lower grocery prices.
And they've skyrocketed.
He said he would lower gas prices.
They're skyrocketed.
You know, that gas is scary right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to share it with you. I just got through text. Some political campaign asked me a lot of questions about electricity. Mm-hmm. a lot of questions about electricity. So I know we here in the Gator country, and I know UF have a huge AI. And I'm like, well, damn, if UF got a big AI and electricity bill here already having problems.
So that's not even anything. So let me be clear about a lot of the data centers that go up in Black communities. And then they, anywhere, depending on the size, use anywhere from 300,000 gallons to 5 million gallons of water per day.
Yeah.
So even with the fires that you're seeing, we're not getting the rain and things that we need. And then plus, because of all that water usage, it's actually contributing to the fires and things that we have going on.
I believe it. I believe it. And he had mentioned that we want that the stimulus, that the tariffs is doing so good, every American should get a $5,000 check.
So that's not how tariffs work.
I haven't got my $5,000 check.
The courts did rule that his tariffs were illegal.
Right.
And what it is the companies who increase their prices because of the tariffs are not going to get their money back, but the consumers are not. So let me be clear. So we still are screwed as it related to that. And there's been 195 court rulings that have been against him that nobody's actually talking about. So it's not that he's actually winning. He's just doing what he wants to do and doesn't care what the court is actually saying. And then you have the Supreme Court in your pocket. And that'll give me a final point. Another issue is too, when people are running for office, you got to know when to fold them. The fact that we have had multiple Democrats elected in office, die in office, under Trump's presidency, he's been able to appoint people to those seats. That's part of our fault. David Scott, out of Georgia, who just died, he literally was sick. He's been in government for like 60 years. It's just insane. And getting people to understand that even with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the way that we ended up with the Supreme Court that we have now is because she died in office. And it opened up the door for that. You got to know when to sit down. We need term limits in a lot of these offices, but even outside of that.
I thought we needed age limits with
We do.
With Trump being his age and Biden
all
his
of
age.
The Supreme Court.
How on earth they was able to
Clarence Thomas
run.
has been on he's been on that the longest. He's been on the Supreme Court for more than 35 years.
Please don't mention Clarence.
Do you know he used to be so in all honesty, so Clarence Thomas, number one, he was a child that went to college because of affirmative action. He actually used to be a very big, like grassroots, pro-black like person who has become this.
Oh, it benefited him, but he went against it all.
Yes, and then
saying he worked hard and all this.
The founder
bullshit,
of the Heritage Foundation actually has a degree in African American history. He learned that history in order to weaponize it.
And the last three questions about, did we get any of the following through our current administrations? They say you didn't get affordable home prices. I wonder how children are even
They want to give you 50-year mortgages, which means you'll never own a home.
Yeah, stretch it. You'll never own it. Mm-hmm. You didn't get any farm protection.
Nope. And many other farmers are going out of business.
And we still didn't get any arrests.
Nope.
For Mr. Epstein files.
He in the Epstein files. He's mentioned more than a million times over anybody. That was never going to be a thing.
Yes. But it's funny how they say it went. They say George Bush opened the files. They say Obama didn't even want to open the files. Trump came and opened the files his first time.
But he already knew it was in there.
Came all the way back. So it's just like...
So Trump never had to open them because he knows that he is in them. So let's be very clear. Meaning that the Epstein survivors are still living. So they've told their story. We don't need files to know what happened.
Right.
The Epstein survivors are here. And even when they just interviewed Pam Bondi, she wouldn't even look at them because she knows what's in those files. These people have told their stories. It's just being ignored. We don't need the files to validate what these people have said.
And lastly, it says, you didn't get no new wars. And they're not calling it a war. Do you know what they call it? What is it a religious war, a holy war now?
So we've gotten that one. We went into Venezuela. We actually are bringing harm to Cuba. So there's actually been 7 conflicts since he got in office in a year.
Yes. This please to tell us that we get anything that we said we thought we would get.
And they still don't care.
And there's a resoundly no. Appreciate you so much coming through for me.
You're welcome.
I'm going to make sure I follow you to be able to at least repeat some of the things you say to see when I use my little platform. We still trying to grow over here. This is Simon P. with Common Hood. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. And find Miss AngieNixon.com to support her for U.S. Senator for the state of Florida. And as Miss Jackson would say, get your black asses out of Go vote.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, we out.